Ali Imsirovic is in the poker news again, and I think it's worth discussing. He's a guy who was accused of using RTA and stabling and other forms of cheating back 3 years ago when there was a bit of like a sweep of that. Him and Jake Schindler were kind of like the biggest guys known for doing it the most, at least allegedly. I don't know if there's been anything proven, but allegedly and believed enough that they're not allowed to play in a lot of places. Like the organizations are saying you can't do it. And Ali is like the Chris Ferguson to Schindler's Howard Lederer in that he just can't stay away from poker. He like Lederer disappeared forever.
Yeah.
Ferguson's back and he's playing. Whereas like Schindler's, I've never heard anything about Schindler since then. But Ali Imsirovic is still trying to enter poker tournaments. He just can't stay away from the game. He loves the game, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. Most recently, news was made because he entered a Run Good series in Florida, $1,200 multi-flight event. And they let him play. This is different than what happened about a month ago in Texas, where he entered a $1,500 event and he was disqualified before a card was dealt. They figured out who he was after he entered. He was refunded the money, and that was news too. This is slightly more newsworthy because he got to play until dinner break. And not only did he play until dinner break, he amassed the chip lead. After dinner break, he came back to his seat. Apparently, they had figured something out, and his chips were gone. He was DQ'd from the tournament. He was done after having amassed the chip lead. So the equity of his stack was, I don't know, maybe $10,000. Who knows? But
Who knows?
So that happened. So we could have a lot of thoughts on this based on the cheating and everything, but also just this specific situation. Where does your mind go first, Jonathan?
I mean, I go in two very separate directions. One is these are not the only guys who've been caught doing RTA, but like Nacho Barbero recently caught on stream with a GTO Wizard open, got caught.
But it was he was not actually doing RTA apparently, but no. he was like running sims, but he wasn't actually doing RTA.
Okay.
Which is slightly different.
I don't know. Feels
just be careful when you're going to put something out to the world.
No, I appreciate you clarifying. That is good. It feels like the stuff that he did and Jake Schindler too, that they're accused of, and I assume did do without really knowing anything, except that everyone seems to think they did it, would count as cheating based on the way it's done. I believe many online poker players do that form of cheating even now. I believe many high-stakes poker players, people we know, do that form of cheating even now. So,
I think it's been teched out of the game a little bit. Like the high-stakes games, at least, and high-stakes tournaments have RTA detection software.
As best they can do. But you don't think there's RTAs that are like software that's trying to defeat that, of course?
There might be.
It's a constant arms race. Okay, but so that's level one. That's level one is like, it's a little strange to like decide these guys can't play because of that only, right? On the other hand, we can decide, though, they're cheaters and they're not allowed to play. I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. And then it's weird from Ali's point of view where he's like trying to like basically get in under the radar, I guess, in these tournaments. But he knows if he wins the tournament, it's going to be a big deal and everyone's going to know, right? Like it's not like, and he's probably got the best chance of anyone to win the tournament at all points of the tournament until he's busted, give or take, until he gets really short at least, right? So there's a non-zero chance he's actually going to win, and it's going to be huge news in the poker community. And there's a chance even when he wins that they might take the money away from him. Maybe he thinks if he actually wins, they won't take it away. Maybe he thinks if they don't kick him out when he first sees their name, he's got like a legal standing to stick around. But I mean, when he gets tossed as he comes back from dinner, some part of him's like, yeah, I knew this could happen, right? Like it's like when you've committed a crime and you didn't get caught and you're like waiting for the door to get busted down by the police every day for the rest of your life a little bit,
You know what that's like? You have that?
Of course I know what that's like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get your points. I think just the simple fact that obviously there are other RTA users doesn't mean we shouldn't do what we can to the most high profile of them.
Agreed.
Like there should be punishment for this type of behavior. This is a game where money is involved, right? And it's not cheating at Monopoly on Thanksgiving where you're like, this game is taking too long. I just want to get onto the pumpkin pie. Like I'm going to just grab Boardwalk over here while they're not looking. It's not like that. It's much more serious than that. Who knows how many millions of dollars were effectively cheated by Ali and Jake Schindler, right? It's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot of money.
Agreed.
And it was done to an influential part of the community. So there's going to be consequences. And I think I typically agree with organizations saying, no, you can't play here because like, even if you clean up your act, it's too late, man. You fucked it up forever. Yeah. It's done.
Yeah.
You know, like the trigger was pulled. You can't unpull the trigger.
Every 2 weeks, we have a special Poker Guys Mystery Bounty Tournament on Clubs Poker. Come play, try and knock us out. There's money involved. It's great.
There is money involved, and there's more money for you when you use the code POKERGUYS when you sign up because there is a 100% deposit bonus. Sign up today. Mysteries await.
I would like it, though, if there was more clarity around that piece. That's all. Like, so I would guess that this tournament that he entered in the series he entered hadn't formally banned him. It isn't like and I don't know anything about this either, but just from the article, I would guess if he was banned, he probably wouldn't have entered because he's never going to get paid even if he wins. He knows that, right? So then to like retroactively ban him once it started, I'm not even saying it's wrong to do that, but it feels a little bit weird and unfair too. Like, listen, I would like it if they banned Chris Ferguson from the World Series. I'm kind of horrified that they never did that. And Chris Ferguson didn't cheat, but he sure kept all our money for 4 years. And by the way, I still didn't get fully paid back. Did anyone else get the value of their full tilt points? I sure didn't. Right? And by the way, Chris Ferguson made sure he got paid when it didn't look like we were going to get paid. And it was a Hail Mary by PokerStars that somehow paid us. He was going to keep that $100 million that he got either way. So he effectively cheated us out of that money, stole that money from us. And it happened to be that we got paid back. He had nothing to do with that, right? I think that alone is enough to ban him forever from these major events and all events.
He did win World Series Player of the Year after that. So.
I know. So like, it's a weird thing where how do we decide these things? There's other questions too. Like there are many criminals, not necessarily poker criminals, although that too, but criminals in poker who are playing, right? Some guys like Will Kassouf who've stolen chips off people's stack, who sometimes are allowed to play and sometimes aren't, right? There's all the we don't have very clear boundaries and clear lines around this, and I think there should be clearer lines. That's all.
I mean, I think it's easier said than done, obviously, or some of the more competent organizations would have done that already. I think it is a difficult thing to do, and I think it's kind of subjective. It's like the reason that there are courts, right? And we don't have a court system in poker, and judges to interpret the law, which makes it much harder. I think it's different than a criminal who killed somebody 40 years ago playing poker. If you've done a poker related thing, that's like within the realm of the poker organizations to police, and non-poker related things are within the realm of the law to police.
Yep.
So
agreed.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. What do you think about this specific situation? Like once if you're the tournament director, you realize it's Ali and he's there and he's been playing, he's been allowed to play, he's knocked out players, presumably. How do you proceed at dinner break when you realize what's going on here?
I think if I'm the tournament director and I have not formally banned him, then that's my problem, not Ali's problem. And I don't think it's right to kick him out as a result. Like we absolutely could have said, we banned this guy, we banned Schindler, we banned cheaters. We could even have a thing which is like, if you're known as a poker cheater and we found out that you're playing, you get kicked out of a tournament. But unless they have that somewhere in their TDA, their tournament rules, or as part of their poker room, it feels like they're sort of, the whole tournament gets a free roll Ali a little bit here, right? If he busts, everyone gets his money. If he doesn't bust, he gets his money returned to him. He's getting negative free roll. And I know he's the cheater, but that still feels like not right either to me. What do you think?
I mostly agree. I think looking beyond that a little bit, if you're the tournament director, you don't have to worry about a public perception issue if you kick them out right now. The public's going to be on your side for the most part.
Without question.
So that part is nice. I mean, it's unfortunate. If you're in that spot, it's pretty unfortunate that nobody caught it earlier like they did in Texas when they almost let him play, but then they didn't. That's a pretty easy one. You're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. He hasn't played a single hand of poker. It's fine. Give him his money back and let him go on his way.
I mean, we know owners of poker rooms. One in particular, we're both close friends with. One, and they have sort of their rules of conduct in the poker room. And even people who they are a little concerned about, they still wait till they actually violate a rule before they kick them out or ban them. Right? Mm-hmm. People don't just get banned because they're not liked or something like that.
Right.
And with this, it almost feels like we just don't want you around because of who you are, which is absolutely fine. But to not declare that ahead of time feels not right to me. It feels like, again, if you're going to do it, you're right. Public perception is going to be like, yay. And it's not egregious to do this. In some ways, it's protecting your player pool a little bit too. A little bit. I mean, you're not worried about him cheating really in live.
No, he's
poker.
not going to be cheating in live poker with RTA.
We don't think so. Not with RTA anyway. But you're not really doing it to protect your player pool, right? You're doing it for other reasons. Maybe a little bit to protect your player pool, but mostly you're doing it because you're taking a stand and you're doing a public thing, right? Like make a public.
I mean, you're also a person. If you're the tournament director, you might be a little bit doing it because fuck this guy.
Yeah,
you might be thinking that.
I mean, again, I got no problem with that. I just would like them to be clear about it before this tournament series started. And how about Ollie's been known as this for years. Like it wouldn't have been hard for this casino or all casinos, by the way, to be like, hey, guess what? These are the people who are not allowed to play in our tournaments. Like, period. And you're saying like it's hard and you need courts and all that, but you could have a committee of 7 well-known poker players. Jason Kuhn comes to mind immediately. Ike Haxon does too. I'm sure we can come up with 5 others who basically advise on recommendations for people who shouldn't be allowed to play. They wouldn't be the only people the players alone don't just get to decide this, to be clear. So they can't just be like, hey, Michael Adamo's killing us. He's not allowed to play anymore. You can't be like that. But, there'd have to be another group as well who also agrees. But where then it's just like, hey, just so you know, Jake Schindler, Ollie, you guys just can't play for the next forever or 5 years or 10 years. Like you're banned from all poker tournaments. You can try and sneak in, but if at any point you're found out, like you don't get paid. Right?
Yeah.
And so, by the way, even when you win and it gets reported to Poker News, Poker News will make a big deal of it, and they're probably going to claw back that money too. And then they just won't play. And if we want that, that's a perfectly fine penalty in my mind. This is we're in some weird in-between thing where it's like, we're pretty sure we cheated. The proof we have is like algorithmic proof, which is probably good enough. It'd probably like work in a court of law, maybe. But there has been no court of law here, right? There's no actual court.
Right.
It's sort of like, what does this tournament director feel this day? Which to me, I don't like that. I like clarity. I like boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be fine, again, if they noticed before he played a hand and just gave him his money back and told him to go on his way. I do think procedurally, the right thing would have been to let him finish the tournament once he was in there. From a more emotional perspective, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of glad they did it.
Me too.
Like, because I know how you care about like how important financial decency is to you.
Yes.
And this is obviously very indecent, the things that he's accused of. And I am not as serious as you about that, but I do agree with you in broad strokes. And I think this is like just egregious in this game that he plays, that he did this in. I think, sure, yeah, screw that guy. That's kind of where I go emotionally.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, it's weird because if you go back far enough, you can find a lot of skeletons in a lot of very well-known players' closets, like Justin Bonomo, multi-tabled MTTs back in the day. Now, he got caught and he had to give back they took a bunch of money back, and it was a big thing for a while. His argument was, everyone does this, but okay, I'll stop now. I mean, and I think he was probably right that, like, from his point of view, like everyone he knew, all the big time players were essentially all doing it, and it was almost never a problem because these MTTs were so big. Thousands of players would enter. Like, you're never going to get 2 spots at the final table anyway. Like, it's just not going to come up almost ever. So you just don't even worry about it. But, PokerStars found out that he did it once and were like, sorry, sucker. And they took back like $100,000 or something from him, which seemed reasonable to me, even though kind of intense, but kind of reasonable. But like, I don't hold that against Justin Bonomo all these years later. I say he was a kid. I think everyone kind of was doing it. And
I just don't think that's equivalent to using RTA.
I mean, but the argument I would make is, or maybe Ollie would make, I don't know if I'd actually make it, would be they probably would think like, well, weren't lots of players doing some form of this though, like for a long time, and like a lot of the really great players when they're playing each other. I think they would argue yes, and I don't know that they'd be wrong. How about that? I don't know.
That's possible. That's possible.
But in the end, like you said, just because other people are doing it doesn't mean it's okay that you did it, right? Like if you're the one who got caught, that's still you kill someone, cool. There are a lot of murders every day. You still have to go to jail. You still go to prison, right? Like even if some other ones go unsolved, yeah.
I do wonder if this is going to happen again. Not necessarily that he gets to play for a while, but if he's going to keep trying to enter tournaments and getting banned, or if he's like done with that. I don't know.
I mean, it is sort of a negative free roll. If he's going to do it, he should enter inexpensive tournaments, because maybe there's like $300 tournaments where people don't care, where like they don't care as much anyway, and they just let him get away with it. Also, the money doesn't feel as like a big a deal, maybe, as opposed to like a 1,500 where the money might get big depending on the size of that tournament. If he's choosing to play it, maybe first place is 6 figures. It wouldn't be surprising, right? It's a weird one for sure. It's sticky, and the lack of clarity around all of this. And we've had lack of clarity around these two guys in particular for years. Lots of lack of clarity. And so this kind of stuff is, I guess, going to keep happening. It's weird.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. We'll go on the roller coaster ride with the rest of the poker community.
Maybe they just stop because by getting kicked out, maybe he's like, what's the point? I'm just going to keep getting kicked out now. And that effectively works. It's a ban without banning. I guess
so.
It's weird.
Sick and tired of being tired of being sick. In my head 24/7, how I'm supposed to pay the rent. Missing practice, I don't play. Friday nights we on the bench, trying to come up with a play. If it don't work, then hit a lick. 12 knocking at my door, pain ain't tell. I'm studying her word, prayer. Baby excel, got away with way too much. Should've got expelled, but the school saw my potential. Smart kid trying to rebel.